What is the definition of truth? Is truth the same thing as facts? And in a world where truth and facts aren't the same, what is the responsibility of a journalist? These are the questions that are posed by The Connector, a brilliant, brilliant new show from Tony Award-winning composer Jason Robert Brown, one of my favorite composers of all time. I had the privilege of seeing The Connector this week. All right, if you don't know me, my name is Mateo Chavez-Lewis. I'm a professional musical theater composer, splitting my time between Toronto and New York, and I upload a bunch of videos here on YouTube analyzing some of my favorite songs of the musical theater canon. I also upload a weekly update of the things that I've been writing. This week I did not write very much because I was in New York, and I saw a bunch of shows. I saw Merrily We Roll Along, which was amazing, but I think the best show I saw all week was The Connector at MCC Theatre. So, today I'm going to share with you a few of my favorite musical moments from this show. A little disclaimer, there's no sheet music. The sheet music has not been published yet. There are no recordings that exist. So everything I'm about to share with you is what I remember from seeing the show once. And I was sitting there in the front row, like frantically counting time signatures, trying to remember as much as I could. So I'm going to share with you a few of my favorite moments today. The first one comes up in the I Want number. The song for the protagonist near the beginning of the show. His name is Ethan Dobson, and he sings this song where he echoes the mantra of this fictional magazine, The Connector, because he wants to get a job there as a reporter. And I think it's in this key, based on where it sits in my voice, and where it sat in Ben Levi Ross's voice, who played Ethan Dobson, fantastically, I might add. But again, there's no sheet music, so I'm not 100% sure that it's in this key. But the melody goes like this. The melody repeated a lot, so I definitely have this melody down. It goes, and you can see yourself a fragment of, and you can see yourself reflected. This beautiful, catchy melody that keeps coming back throughout the show. Now, the really cool thing that happens in this song is that near the end of the song, at the climax, he jumps into this minor key and he goes to the minor third and then resolves to the major third. Let me show you how that sounds. And you can see yourself a fragment of, and you can see yourself reflected. Something like that. Now, when Ben Levi Ross hit that high note, and I'm pretty sure it was an A, it may even have been higher, it may even have been a B flat, I don't know because I didn't have a piano with me and I don't have perfect pitch. But based on where it sat in his voice, it was at least an A. This really high note on this big open A vowel, and this big dramatic change from this minor note, A flat in the key of F, is a minor note, and then A is the major note. So this resolve from minor to major was just so dramatic. And I think it had some relationship to the plot of the show, but I'm not going to spoil that for you. I thought that was such a cool moment, and it was a very climactic moment in the song. But the coolest part came in actually the next song, because that's when Robin, the copy editor at The Connector, who's constantly trying to get her stories published and who can't, is watching Ethan, this rich white guy from, I think he went to Princeton, get all of his stories published when she's been working at The Connector for so long trying to get her things published. And she's Latina, she's a woman, and she's played amazingly, by the way, by Hannah Cruz. And she sings this song about how she's watching Ethan. She's got her eye on him, and she's a little suspicious of him. And at the end of that song, she goes something like, I'm watching you. Something like that. I don't know exactly how it went. Again, this is just all from memory, but I know for sure that it was the same minor third to major third at the very end. And I think in the exact same key, which shows that she is totally watching him. She's even copying his musical gestures. And I think that's a fantastic, fantastic way to use that storytelling element of the music. Another way that I think Jason Robert Brown really stretches himself as a composer in this show is with his use of complicated time signatures. Now, time signatures are usually either simple or compound. Simple time signatures are based around normal notes, which are split into two. So, for example, a quarter note, which is split into two eighth notes. Bum, 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 bum. Compound time signatures are based around dotted notes, which are split into three. So, for example, a dotted quarter note is split into three eighth notes. Bum, 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 bum. With these complicated time signatures, whether it's 7/8 or 13/8 or 7,000,000,000,008, the only way that they make any sense is by being divided up into dotted notes and non-dotted notes. Long beats made up of 3 and short beats made up of 2. So there's one song that's in 11/8 and it's counted in 3, 3, 3, 2. Long, 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 short. I don't remember exactly how the bass line went, but it was something like this. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and so that's 11/8 because it's 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2, which is 9 plus 2 is 11. And then he changes the feel. So instead of staying the same way the whole way through, in the chorus it switches to long, short, long, long. In the verse it was long, 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 short. Now it's long, short, long, long. So it goes bum 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 ba ba bum 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 ba ba bum 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 bum. And then at the very end it expands into 12/8, which is a standard compound time signature. 4 beats. Each beat has 3 subdivisions. Bum 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 bum. Jason Robert Brown loves to write in 12/8. There's like this rollicking feel to that. It All Fades Away from Bridges of Madison County is written in 12/8. Big sections of If I Didn't Believe in You from last 5 years are written in 12/8. These are some Jason Robert Brown songs in 12/8. He loves the 12/8 time signature. And it shows up in this song just to give you a break from the weirdness of that 11/8. And then we go right back to that 11/8. So we've got 11/8 switching feels from long, 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 short to long, short, long, long. And then we've got 12/8. So that's one song with a really cool time signature in it. The other one is this song that Robin sings. I have no idea what key it was in. I can tell with pretty good accuracy where Ethan's songs were because I'm a tenor. So I hear a tenor singing and I have a pretty good idea of where in his voice those notes are sitting. So I have a pretty good idea of what those notes are. But with Robin, I'm not a mezzo-soprano, so I have less of a good idea just by listening to it where the key was. I'm going to estimate it was like E flat, maybe, but I might be totally off. But Robin sings this song that goes, half the stories of the world are left unwritten, half the stories of the world are left unread, or something like that. And that is switching between 7/4 and 12/8. Half the stories of the world are left unwritten, half the stories of the world are left unread. Remember I said time signatures are either broken up into beats of 2 or beats of 3 with the subdivisions, so either normal notes or dotted notes. There we have 7/4, which is split up into 2, and then 12/8, which is split up into 3. So it keeps switching back and forth. Now, using these weird time signatures has 2 main effects that are really useful in storytelling, which is the goal of writing music for musical theater. Its only goal isn't to be catchy. If it's catchy, that sure helps bury it in the audience's head. But its only goal isn't to be catchy. It also has the goal of telling the story, being truthful to the characters. And using these weird time signatures has 2 effects that help with that. The first one is that it matches the cadence of the words, so we can actually understand the words a little bit better. Real people don't speak in perfect 4/4. If I spoke like this, that would be very weird. Real people vary their rhythms a little bit, so when you have a time signature where the rhythms are varying a little bit, it makes a lot more sense. It's more realistic, the way that the people are talking and the cadence of the words. The other effect that it has, though, is because it's a time signature we don't recognize, and because the length of the beat keeps changing, there's no comfort in it. There's an instability in it. Stories need to have conflict. Stories need to have tension. If everything was perfect all the time in a story, it'd be a really, really boring story. And that's what these complicated time signatures do so well, is because we never get totally comfortable in a steady beat. The beats switch between the normal beats and the dotted beats. They switch between the short beats and the long beats. Because of that, there's this constant instability there, a constant tension. And it helps us believe that the characters are going to take big, drastic actions in order to get what they want. It helps us to understand the conflict in the story. There's tension in the music between the long beats and the short beats. There's also tension in the story between the different characters. I'll leave you with this. There's a line in The Connector where Conrad O'Brien, played by the way by Scott Bakula, who's a TV celebrity. Conrad O'Brien, the editor-in-chief of this fictional magazine, The Connector, says to Ethan, everything you write should be just a little bit outside of your reach. You should always be stretching yourself as a writer. Don't just write the same thing you've already written. Write the same thing, but better every time. And I think Jason Robert Brown is a writer who embodies that for me. I got to meet him after the show because he was conducting, and he was so sweet, and I got to tell him to his face how much of an inspiration he is to me, how much his work has meant to me throughout my life, and that was really, really special. As you know, if you've been watching this channel, I'm a huge Jason Robert Brown fan. One of the first videos I ever put up here was an analysis of his song, If I Didn't Believe in You. So it was really, really special to get to meet him for the first time in my life. And to hear this brilliant new work that he's created, which I think pushes his vocabulary as a composer even further than he's ever gone before. So I'm so excited for the sheet music and the recordings to come out. Subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be posting a ton of analyses of those songs as soon as I can. As soon as I get the materials I need, so that I'm not just pulling out of my memory. Let me tell you, I was sitting in the front row of that theater, like obsessively counting the whole time. I'm sure I distracted the actors, and I'm very sorry, actors, if you're watching this, if I distracted you, because I was sitting in the front row of the audience going like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Trying to remember what the time signatures were so that I could share them with all of you here on the internet. Thank you for watching, and if you like analyzing musicals and talking about them, musicals good and bad, I've actually got a live stream coming up tomorrow, if you're watching this when it first comes out, on Monday, February 12th. I'm doing a live stream where I'm going to watch the entirety of the Mean Girls musical and talk about the things I like about it and the things I don't like so much about it. So if that sounds like a fun time, it's going to be like a 3.5 hour long event. Come grab some popcorn or a glass of wine maybe and join me. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, Monday, February 12th. That is exclusive for my patrons over at Patreon, so make sure you go to the Patreon link, which is going to be somewhere on the screen or down in the description, and sign up before tomorrow. I'll see you there, and of course, I'll see you in future videos on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.